Hi, and welcome to another episode of Virtual City Hall School. Did you know that Edmonton has 7 cemeteries? And people go there for different reasons. Maybe to remember and honor someone that they loved who died. Maybe they go there for a peaceful walk. Maybe they go there to learn some history. I'm really excited to have somebody from Edmonton Cemeteries here with us today. Hi, Tina.
Hello, how are you?
Great. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn the interview over to our student reporter, Fiona.
Hi.
Hello, Fiona.
So the first question is, some children might think working at a cemetery is either scary or very sad. Is it?
I can tell you I don't feel that way, and I have a staff of year-round about 20 people, varying positions and various natures of work. And the resounding theme for all of us is that we provide comfort and a quiet, reflective place for people to come either for a walk, to visit their loved ones, for history. So we actually feel more positive about our work because it's very rewarding. The nature of what we do. So very few will say it's scary. There are moments where it is a little sad because we're working with a family that have lost somebody, but usually it's more they're thanking us for what we've done for them.
Great answer.
Thank you.
No problem. So the second question is, what would you do on a typical day at the cemetery?
So for me, my role is a little bit different as a supervisor. So my job is to make sure that we have options and opportunities for different families, different cultures, and things like that. So I do a lot of the planning and development. So my field team, or what we call our operations team, what they would do is they would get a service request or a notification from our sales staff, and it could be we have to install a monument, or so the monument is arriving and they put it at graveside for the family that has purchased the monument. Or we might have a ceremony, and it could be a casket ceremony, a cremation ceremony, things like that. So they would have to prepare the area, and then once they prepare it in advance, then the actual physical ceremony will take place a few days later. So then they're there to assist with that and then put the site back into a more safe and kind of parkland feel, so the grass is put back naturally, the seeds and things like that. So that's a very small glimpse of what my field operations teams do. My sales or customer service team, their day-to-day is a little bit different. So they're the ones that are getting phone calls from the families or possibly funeral homes saying, we want to either purchase, because we have family that are coming close to, need to make some decisions and families like to stay close together. Or it could be a situation where a death has passed and we need to prepare the information so that our operations team can go out and actually prepare it and have it ready for the ceremony.
Okay, great answer. So what is the most rewarding part of your job?
I think myself and my team would say the most rewarding part of our job is to work with the people, the citizens of Edmonton, various families, hearing the stories of their family members that have maybe departed, or saying how we've helped them find closure and happiness. Or when people come maybe 1 year later, 5 years later, and they say, oh my gosh, the site looks so beautiful, thank you, because I don't feel sad, I feel happy. Those are the things that are most rewarding for all of us.
Great answer again. So the fourth question is, what challenges do you have?
So we are dealing with people that have lost a loved one. So, there is a lot of sadness and there is also grief. And sometimes there's varying stages of grief, where sometimes the person might be very angry and very distraught. So our role is to find, comfort for them or give them comfort to help them make some decisions. So sometimes that could take, a few minutes, sometimes it could take a half hour. But what we really try and do is make our approach is to help each family the best way we possibly can. So that's kind of some of our challenges that, we deal with, because it might start okay, but then as you go through trying to get the information, sadness comes out, anger comes out, different things come out, and we just need to manage to that.
Nice. So the fifth question is, what is genealogy And how does that fit with sorry,
Okay.
sen, sorry, sen,
Are you trying to say cemeteries?
yeah, cemeteries.
It's a
That's
tricky
okay.
word. Yeah, tell us about genealogy and cemeteries, please.
So genealogy is very, that's a hard one for me to kind of think about. So genealogy is basically, kind of, I look at it as your family tree. Okay, so genealogy is your family tree. So wherever your family tree, starts from, or what you identify as your starting point. So it can be your great grandparents, your, then great grandparents, grandparents, your parents, and then you could have multiple cousins and things like that. So when you think about genealogy and when you think about cemeteries, sometimes a lot of families like to stay in the general area together, whether it's a cremation, or casket burial. So that way, when they're coming to visit many generations down the line, they can see their great grandparents, possibly their grandparents, and it might be a future place for their parents as well. So that's probably the closest tie-in that I can say about genealogy, is that families, different, branches of your family tree like to kind of stay together. And we actually have several families that have done that over generations, where they're in the general section. So people kind of walk and they visit everyone at the same time.
Nice. So the sixth question is, are cemeteries multicultural?
Yes, they are. So City of Edmonton, we have 7 cemeteries, and we tailor all of our services to faith groups, non-faith groups, all different cultures and things like that we can support, because we want to be able to provide for all families, for all citizens of Edmonton, and we don't restrict anybody's burial practices as long as we can meet those needs. So an
Great.
example of that for the Muslim faith is their cultural practice is they prefer to be buried at sundown of the same day. So that's very hard for any cemetery provider to do that. So what we do, we work with our Muslim community and we say we can't do it the same day, but we can do it the next afternoon. So that way we're still able to provide them the service, fairly quickly, because normally it's about 3 business days from the start of the hearing about the death and the actual ceremony. But it's something that we do for the Muslim faith because we're able to do that, and we offer it to other families as well. We try and work through that. And another part of, particularly to the Muslim faith, is their cultural practices to be on the natural earth. So they don't have a casket or anything like that. And but we have a practice where there's, all cemeteries use a concrete liner, so it's kind of like a box to kind of protect the area and protect the individual. So we use a bottomless liner. So again, it allows for that faith group to be in the natural earth, but still kind of supporting our operational needs because the grounds need to be maintained.
Okay, great answer. So
Thank you.
no problem. So the seventh question is, can you find some historic Edmontonians whose gravestones we could find?
Absolutely. So we have, well, our 7 cemeteries, there's history everywhere. I mean, we're part of the community and things like that. But if you think about history for the Edmonton area, we have 3 historic cemeteries that have been around since the 18th century. So that would be Edmonton Cemetery, Mount Pleasant, and Beachmount Cemetery. So Edmonton Cemetery in particular, Emily Murphy, she's interred there at the Edmonton Cemetery Mausoleum, along with her husband. And the mausoleum itself is a historic facility and has designation. The Terwilliger family is in there. The Matart family is actually also at Edmonton Cemetery. So we have a lot of the pioneers and founding, people of Edmonton in a lot of our older cemeteries, because that's where we've always provided these services. So not so much this summer, but we do have historic tours at Edmonton Cemetery, Mount Pleasant, and Beachmount Cemetery. And a lot of those historic tours actually do provide glimpses of who actually are there, and as part of the history of Edmonton.
Great answer. So the eighth question is, are there rules for visiting a cemetery?
There's not really rules, so we kind of follow the parkland hours in the sense that we're open from sunrise to sunset, or dawn until dusk. I'm sorry, that's what it is. So dawn until dusk. But most visitation is usually during the daytime hours or early evening, and obviously the weekend. So the things that we, request, and most people are pretty, good about, is be respectful of the place, because while, parks are recreation, cemeteries are definitely considered parks. We have a lot of people that walk their dogs, and, just look for a tranquil, quiet place, but be respectful, don't trample, the area because it is somebody's, has been laid to rest there. Clean up after yourself, kind of thing. Don't have loud music playing at various times, again, because there could be a ceremony, there could be a mom that's, visiting, her mother, kind of thing, or there could be, siblings visiting their departed, family. So again, it's just really just being respectful of the place and knowing that people are there to honor and tribute. So we just ask that for everybody.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the questions and the answers. That was a good interview, and I think something that maybe not a lot of people have considered about the cemeteries in the city. So something special happens at Beechmount Cemetery every November, and also cemeteries all across Canada. It's a project called No Stone Left Alone. And last year, there was over 12,000 students, just like you, who all across Canada went to these cemeteries and were able to put a poppy on a headstone for a war vet. And I know that at your schools, you often have Remembrance Day ceremonies in November as well, to think about the sacrifice and service of our military. So today's challenge is to think about the military and what they're doing today. So I'm asking you to get onto Google and Google Right to the Troops Canada. And when you get to that website, you'll see a place where you can type in a message to a man or woman who's working with our military. There's also a place where you can mail them a picture or a message. So that's my challenge for you today, is to send out a message of support to them. Thank you very much for watching. Bye now.